Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today we are joined by two stars of Peacock's hit reality TV show, The Traitors, Peter, Weber, and Trishelle Cannatella? Cannatella.
Yeah.
Nailed it. I'm the worst with names. I wanted to ask you that before, but we got talking about all things. By the way, guys, this is a mid-intro interruption to tell you we are wearing glasses for many reasons.
Right.
One, it's a Traitors theme, so we're trying to hide behind the shades. Two, I have two massive sties. Three,
We wanted to support you.
Peter's just being a good bro. And Trishelle, you just got roped into it.
That's right.
All right. Many of you know Peter from his time on Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette, followed by his lead role as The Bachelor the same year. Since his time on the show, Peter's continued his career as a commercial airline pilot for United Airlines and even added the title of author to his resume after writing a children's book titled The Adventures of Pilot Pete. Trishelle made her name appearing as a main cast member on The Real World Las Vegas back in 2002, followed by 5 different seasons of MTV's The Challenge and various other stints in reality TV world. In addition to her time on reality TV, Trishelle has also added the titles of model, real estate investor, and professional poker player to her career. More recently, and extremely importantly, Peter and Trishelle have been hot topics around their strong performances on the hit reality show, The Traitors. Each of them, along with other reality TV personalities, were challenged to work as a group in a clue-themed competition to identify any traitors within the group and vote them out in order to win the grand prize of $250K. So today we're going to discuss all the ins and outs of the show, feedback on their overall experiences as contestants, and so much more. Peter and Trishelle, the double duo, the triple threat with me being here in these sunglasses. Thank you for being on Trading Secrets.
Thank you. That was quite an introduction.
I mean, there's a
intro.
lot to cover in that intro.
Yeah.
There is.
How are you two doing?
We're good. We don't hate each other, so that's nice.
No,
That's
we-
good.
Honestly, yeah, this is one of the best friendships I had that came out of the show. So I love Trishelle. Super stoked to be able to play with her, and yeah,
I
life
love
is
it.
good.
Well, we just watched a reunion, and we did see that maybe everyone is not still friends. So we're going to get into Traitors. We're also getting the fact that 8 million people watched the season 2 finale after streaming and
I didn't know
catch-up
that.
viewing was accounted for. And you know what else about this season? This is the biggest debut for any original reality TV series on streamer because it grew by 75%
Holy
over its first season. So this was a huge season. So we're going to get into that. That's a little
Wow.
tease for my people. But before we do, let's get into some trading secrets before the show. So Peter, you were last on reality TV as The Bachelor 2019, Trishelle 2021. So we had 4 years and 5 years there. The big question I have for you is, did you expect to be on reality TV? And how did they find you? Let's start with you, Trishelle.
I sort of found them. I was 21 years old, and I was in college in Mississippi, and I heard this advertisement on the radio, guys. Sorry, I'm going to say a lot of things that you guys are
FM or AM?
What? So I drove from Mississippi to New Orleans for an open casting call for a show that was going to be sort of like Road Rules, but it was called Lost in the USA. And I passed up the line full of people because I was like, I'm not waiting in line. Like, I don't do these things. And so I was just like, I'm here for the casting. And I actually was cast for that show, but the show got canceled, and then they asked me to do The Real World.
So you were in Real World 2002, and then you were all the way up to, like, you did The Challenge in 2012, The
Yeah.
Rivals in 2013. So from 2002 to 2013, you were on TV a lot.
Yeah.
We've seen how reality TV has changed as far as monetization, especially with social media. In that period from 2002 to 2013, when you were on often, could you make a good amount of money from being on these shows, or was it just like a little side part-time fun thing?
It's so different because I missed the entire social media aspect of it, right? Like, literally in 2002, we had message boards, MTV.com message boards. They were like, go for an hour on the message boards. And I had to be like, oh, when people were like, we hate you, Trishelle, I'd be like, thank you for watching, you know, whatever.
Love you,
Like
hug the kids.
AIM?
Yeah. Like,
Like old
no,
old
like
chat
message
rooms.
boards.
That's
Like,
before chat rooms.
Holy
That's
shit, okay,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so we didn't have like all the things. So we weren't getting paid in that aspect. However, we were getting paid by doing appearances, bar appearances. So basically, like, you were drunk for like 5 days a week.
And what would you get paid for like an appearance?
Whenever we started out, it was like 35 to 5,000 like
Okay.
a night, and then it dropped significantly because everybody started doing it, and people were like, negotiating prices and going lower.
Got it.
Hate those people. And so then it dropped to like 1,500, then it was like 1,000, and then you'd always find somebody to do it for 250. So I just quit doing it.
And then we'll fast forward to 2024 here in a second. But those shows, when you were on them, did they pay well?
No. Oh my God. The Real World. We filmed in Vegas for 5.5 months, which is amazing.
Yeah.
However, it's taxing. It's a lot. I was known and all this other stuff and recognized. We got paid $3,800 after taxes.
For the whole 5.5 months?
Mm-hmm.
What?
That's it.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
how times have changed.
It's so bad.
All right, well,
So bad.
we see Bethany Frankel complaining about reality TV. Now, I think everyone's doing pretty well now compared to
She
back
doesn't
then.
even know.
She should have been around 20 years ago.
I
Then
know.
the last thing I got for you before we get into kind of current state is you went from 2013 to 2021, no reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
But when in 2021, it was the Challenge All-Stars. After 2021, did you think you would be on another reality TV show, or did you think your reality TV career was done?
Well, they always ask me to do the challenge because
Okay.
they're like, Trishelle's going to pop off on someone, like at some point.
Great TV.
Yeah, you didn't really get to see that much about me on the Traitors. Like, I kind of kept my cool, and I think it's because, like, there was basically no alcohol there. I have a few drinks. I will definitely pop off. So
Okay.
they would always ask me, but I was like, I don't need to do another challenge. I'm not trying to kill myself because the challenges are really tough. You're falling 50 feet into the water.
Sure.
They don't give you wetsuits. It's not as nice as it was on the Traitors.
They took care of us, yeah, Traitors.
But then when they
Yeah.
asked me about the Traitors, I was like, okay, like, this seems nice. I get to be off camera, to sleep. I don't have to share a room with people. Like, already, like, you sold me. So I decided to do that.
You just gave me a challenge. You said you pop off if you drink. I'm going to have to get some drinks flowing in here in the next 45 minutes. Evan, let's get some drinks
We'll
going.
see.
Pete, I'm coming to you in just 1 second. Traitors, who came to you? Well, like, tell us the business behind it. Was it an agent? Did you apply for it? Was it casting? Like, how did Traitors end up at your doorstep?
So I had a friend that worked at Peacock that's known me for probably 20 years. And casting had mentioned my name. And because they wanted a couple people from the challenge.
Sure.
And so they got my email address, and casting just emailed me directly and asked for an interview. And when they emailed me, I was just like, okay, like maybe this will happen. I did my interview, and I was very much like, I need to be a traitor.
Yeah.
I told them, like, this is all I want to do.
Yeah.
Because I had watched Cerise season, and I was like, I can do that. Now looking back on it, no way. But yeah, that's how they contacted me.
Got it. Okay. In between 2021 and Traitors, which has been your number one income source when you look at acting, real estate, poker, influencing stuff? What's been your number one income source?
Real estate, actually.
Okay. I like that.
Real estate, and we have like a bunch of short-term rentals, and yeah.
Okay.
We started kind of doing that during COVID. We actually picked up some properties. So
I love it. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good time to buy. All right,
Yeah.
Peter, let's go to you. It's been since
Yes, sir.
2019. You're on reality TV. We get to see that beautiful face back in action in a whole different capacity that we absolutely loved. But between 2019 and 2024, you've been on the show a few times. You've talked about it. What has been your number one income source? Is it monetizing through influencing, appearances, the podcast, the book, or just the old United Airlines pilot?
Listen, United Airlines takes very, very good care of me. It's, yeah, I would still say flying for United. Still number one.
Okay, same question goes for you. How did you end up back on reality TV? Was it through agency? Did they contact you direct? What's the story?
I got a last minute call. It was so unexpected. I really never thought, to be honest, that I'd ever do anything else with reality TV.
Yeah.
And it was about a week before we were supposed to be in Scotland to start filming the show. And it was just from a producer that reached out, asked if I had any interest. I had seen from Ari's season, he'd done the first season for Traitors. So I had seen a little bit of it. I remember when he was promoting it. So I knew about the show. And then immediately I was just like, yes. I've
Okay.
kind of always been a yes man. So I'm like, yes, if I can get the time off from work, if I can move my schedule around, I'm there. And then the next day I was able to call her back and be like, yeah, I got the time off. Let's do it.
All right, I love that. So then let me ask you this. You both said yes. It had been 4 or 5 years. Got to ask about negotiating pay. Like, we know what your winnings were. That's very public. But how did that work? Can you talk at all about like what you were paid, or was it a day rate? Did you negotiate it? Is everyone paid the same? What can you give me?
Well, I know that not everybody was paid the same because Sandra, I think the first day I didn't even really introduce myself. She's asking people what they got paid and what she got paid.
I love
Did she
that.
do that to you too? She was so
No way.
hysterical.
She was telling everyone what
I
she
will
got
say
paid.
Sandra got paid double what I got paid.
Stop.
But you know what? She's won Survivor twice. She deserves it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone got paid differently a
Yeah.
base.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you allowed to say how much you got paid? Or
I'm
no?
not going to say how much I got paid
Okay.
for anybody who's watching who might ask me for another show.
Yeah. Okay. I like that, and I don't want to be in trouble with Traitors because I am petitioning. I've never been more thirsty than going on a show.
We've got to get you season
Get me
3.
on that
you
show.
would absolutely
Not
kill
only
it.
get me on that show, but I would be fun if you put someone from the Bachelor franchise that I did or didn't get along with. If you need a lead, fine, throw a lead in there. Let's mix it
Love
up.
that.
Would be fun.
Possibly an ex? Is
Little
that?
throw it in there. I would do it.
I
Wow.
would love that. Oh my
Could you
God.
imagine? We'd either like join
That
forces.
narrative,
We would
there's so
join
much there.
forces and absolutely dominate, or we would absolutely go after each other.
Either way, though, it's great
Either
TV.
way, it would be good TV. I don't know. Let me ask you this though. Can you give me this type of hint? Your prize pool, okay? You won the big. You came in first. Like what you got paid to be on the show? Is it even compared to that, or like? Can
It's
you give
comparable.
me warm? Okay, it's
It's
warm.
comparable,
Okay,
but-
you gave us enough without getting in trouble.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Winner,
Okay.
winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Now, for the big prize pool, and we're going to get into some of your strategy, when you got paid that amount, how do taxes work on that? People are asking this. Like, do they take it off immediately? Is it 1099? You're responsible? Because your pay was what, like 125?
104.
104K?
104. Yeah, let's see. I think that oh my God.
It was international, so it was different. I think they do take taxes
They're
out.
taking, I think, 20, and then we have to do something on our end, but like, I don't know, it's my husband's tax guy.
Okay.
And then I was just kind of, we have like a bunch of LLCs. I have no clue. My husband's the guy that does all that
Okay,
stuff. Like
got
he does
it.
the finances. We have all this other things going on. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So then let's get into, like, we're going to call this section the traitor secrets, okay? Couple rapid fires to start out with. I want to hear from both of you. Before we get into the rapid fires, simple question. It's a lab. How many days did you guys film?
Ooh, days? I mean, I can go by weeks. I think it was almost 4 weeks.
4
Yeah.
weeks.
Till
okay.
the end.
So obviously you started start to finish, and then you were
Yeah.
probably gone, what, 3 weeks in or so?
Yeah, I wasn't. I did. I think I left about a week before you. So yeah,
Okay.
3 weeks. Yeah.
And then this is my natural curiosity, it doesn't tie to business, but you had said there's not much drinking. Did you have, like in The Bachelor, you could only have a certain amount of drinks per hour and stuff. Were you allowed to have any drinks at all?
So what, Peter? It was like 1 glass of wine.
we would. It was
Every
really
3 days or something. Whenever we.
for the show. I think it's just a different kind of dynamic than like The
Okay.
Bachelor. That's not really the kind of vibe that they're going for. Having people kind of pretty tipsy. It's a very
Yeah.
analytical game, right? Very mental game.
Yeah, but it would be funny if people were like on edge, like drinking, like, or,
Well, they're
or
actually-
using alcohol as a means to like get someone drunk and
And
get some information.
That happened. That happened with
Yeah,
Parvati
true.
and Ekansu. So there
True.
was, I guess, I take that back.
did
There was
happen.
a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
really, we wouldn't really drink. They'd give us like 1 glass of wine. They'd take our drink orders after the round table ceremony.
Okay.
We'd do some reality, and then, at that point when the night's starting to kind of like wind down, that was like the one time where we could really kind of just drink and enjoy each other's company and hang out.
Okay.
But I liked it because this is the first reality show that I've done where it's been like, to me, 1 drink is dry.
You're like, we were
Like,
sober as shit. Only
this is-
reality TV
We're
that's done
sober, okay? Like 1 glass of wine, we're sober.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I liked it because I was so on point and clear-headed. And when I got back, I was just like, I can take over the world. Like I've basically been in rehab for 4 weeks. I mean,
Skin's fresh.
Yeah.
Everything's- You're just glowing. No alcohol.
speaking of.
I love it.
Hey,
Well,
yeah,
we
speaking
came
of.
through. Hey, Evan, we were just put you to the challenge. Evan came through for everybody watching. Go check us out on YouTube. But we
Whoa.
have
What is
drinks
that?
here.
Whoa, I've
And you
never
know
even
what that means? Right before we get into traitor secrets. Wow, holy smokes.
Mr. Sarr, look
Trishelle
at
is about
that.
to pop off. We have White Claws here. These are not the 0% non-alcoholic
Thank you,
premium
sir.
seltzers that we endorse. These are the legit stuff. So, you said you're going to pop off.
I have never seen this kind of white.
I've never seen this before.
I haven't seen
Trishelle,
Trishelle pop off. So
you said you're going to pop off.
Cheers.
You just talked about your cleanse. Do you want me to
Here,
do
I
that
don't
for
wanna,
you?
Here, I got
don't
you.
wanna
Here,
break
take
my
this.
Cannot
nail.
break those beautiful
Oh yeah,
nails.
I want the strawberry. Can I have this?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
Thank you.
Okay, while he's doing that, I'm going to
Being
get into
too much
traitor
All right,
secrets.
cheers,
in a
guys.
second.
Cheers.
Salud.
White
Salud.
Claw, sponsor me.
Thank you, Evan.
We have a White Claw Connect, so we'll talk. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's get into this. This is going to be rapid fire for each of you guys, okay? I'm going to go to you first, Pilot Pete.
All right.
And I don't want you to think about it. I want you to just give
First
me
thing that
your
comes to
answer.
mind.
It's a person from the show. We'll
okay.
start with number 1. Other than you, show's MVP. And you cannot say Trishelle.
That was gonna be.
Can't, because she's right here, sucking up. Even though it's probably true.
Listen, CT.
Okay, fair. Toughest player.
CT.
Smartest business person in the entire group.
Phaedra.
Okay. Master manipulator.
Parvati.
Most improved player.
Myself.
Okay. Oh, I love that. Okay, let's go into trader secrets with you, Trishelle.
Okay.
You got a little, we're talking analytics here. You got a little teaser there. You know what's coming. Show's MVP.
It's Peter.
Oh, it couldn't
Oh,
be
I
Peter.
can't see. I can't see Peter.
Appreciate that.
Okay. MVP for a different reason. I'll say
Yeah.
Phaedra.
Okay, worst player.
MJ.
Tough. Oh, she's
more.
throwing darts early.
into that.
I'm just
One
saying.
sip of White Claw and she's popping off.
She's popping
All
off.
right.
saying.
Toughest player.
CT.
Smartest player.
Ooh, smartest player. I would say John.
Okay, smartest business person in the whole group.
Phaedra.
Yeah, I think everyone's on board with that. Master manipulator.
Master manipulator.
Yeah, you're like me.
I want to say me.
Okay.
But Parvati probably too. Yeah.
Okay, and then most improved player.
Peter. Oh shit, Peter. Sorry.
Yeah.
Most improved. I'm gonna go ahead and say Kevin. He came a little bit and
Yeah.
better toward the
I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's get into this. So you had network alliances, Trishelle. Peter, you did not. Do you think having someone from Bachelor Nation would have helped you?
Possibly, but I actually like the way that it went down. I like
Okay.
kind of being the lone wolf.
You did
And
like being the lone wolf.
I enjoyed that. I kind of liked no one having any game film on me.
Okay.
I thought that kind of worked to my advantage at some point.
Interesting.
Until I kind of like felt like I was, making my moves and getting my bearings straight. So, yeah, no one really had any preconceived notions.
There's definitely game film on you. We could find some game film, but it's different type of game.
Different game film.
say.
Yeah. I don't know how much it would have helped.
All
with
right,
the Traitors.
fair enough. Now you threw the question to me already. I'd be down for it. I'd be in for it. Throw me that curveball. Throw that X right in the mix, and let's do this.
I think it's just a dynamic,
I'm going to throw it
opportunity.
to you. You're on that show, and either Hannah Ann, Maddie Pruitt, or Kelly walks in the door. How do you handle that situation in game show?
All three of them?
Oh, one of them. One of the three of them. Like, what's your? Tell me. We see that you're a good game player.
Yeah.
We see that you're analytical.
Yeah.
One of them walks in the door. What's your instant strategy going to be?
Dude, that's
Well,
a
you
good
thought Kelly
question.
was gonna be on it. You thought I can sue as Kelly.
Kelly would be a great. Like, can we can both say that? Right?
Yeah, no, Kelly would be
great
play
at this
exceptionally
thing.
well at the game.
Yeah.
And I thought Kelly was there. I don't know if I told you.
No.
When the first day we were driving to the castle.
Yeah.
And we were all in these like Humvees, like Land Rovers, and there was 4 of us in each car. So you only met 3 people at first before everyone shows up to the castle, and then you
Yeah.
meet the rest of the cast. And so we're driving around doing some tracking shots, and I'm in the front right seat of the car. Ekansu is in the front right seat of her car, and
Yeah.
we're passing each other, and from like a distance, they have a very similar look, right?
Yeah.
So I see her, and my heart stops. I'm like, they brought Kelly onto the show.
my
I
And
would have loved it.
and no, I just like literally drop. I'm like, oh my God. I just like kind of panicked. I'm like, I haven't seen her since, everything kind of, we ended things. And then I got, we got out of the car and I saw it was Ekansu and I could breathe again. But dude, I don't know.
What would this thing? So Kelly comes out. What?
Yeah.
And strictly emotions aside.
Yeah.
When you're thinking strategy for your game, what would the strategy be inside the game? You're not thinking like an X. Like, what's the game?
Listen, if it's pure strategy,
yeah,
and pure
gameplay, no emotions, no like
Yeah.
you're not talking probably like strategy. What are you doing?
I am trying to have a very early on a conversation with whoever it is. Just like get away from everyone. Just talk through things. Let's bury the hatchet, bury everything. Let's be totally cool, and then possibly use that relationship and see if you could almost maybe manipulate that relationship later on in the game for the benefit of coming out on top with the rest of the cast. you
Yeah.
know?
I love
Like,
this game talk.
Oh, I would do this. Like I would do if I had. Let's suppose it was Max, or it was like someone connected to
Yeah.
Max. Let's just say that I would go in and establish immediately. Like, are we going after each other, or are we gonna like use this as an advantage and tell everyone that we're not friends?
I
and
think
just,
that's
like,
what
but
I would
let's
do.
be on the same page. And then down the road, spoiler, I would totally like backdoor him
I
or her.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but I think honestly,
Or
my
you'd stay on the same
my
page.
gameplay would be to have that combo. Let's bury the hatchet. If they were cool, I say, okay, listen, let's sell this narrative that we're not cool.
That
with each
that
other.
we're not cool.
Let's
That's my
play
point.
this to our advantage the entire game.
Be like we hate
and
each other.
You know
and
what?
it's good TV.
I like
too.
that move.
But
Yeah.
no, yeah, and I
The
kind
let's
of
fight move.
And,
I
and
kinda did
talk
it.
shit, like talk shit behind the scenes. Be like,
Exactly.
oh, if you knew what she did or whatever, like so that it's like really
so
playing
believable.
into it. But you'd have to be totally aligned that that's what you're gonna do.
He did that with Kevin, kind of.
Yeah,
it
he
would
did
have
a little
made so
bit.
much sense though with an actual ex. And you
Yeah.
know what? It would have been cool even at the end to we're exes, but to win a game like that together.
And like
that's
put it
kind of a
behind
cool
you.
story.
I agree. And
Yeah.
then like you're friends
Yeah.
again. All right,
Exactly.
Trishelle, we're going to you. We know you had network alliances. What did you feel about that when you walked in there? Did you think like this is a good thing? I got this in the bag. Were you like, oh shit? How'd you feel about it?
I'm sorry, but Bananas is not the person that you want on your side. That's not the sole person that you want to
Yeah,
trust for
fair.
life. Love the guy, but
Fair.
he would steal money from his own grandmother.
Yeah,
But,
I think he would admit that honestly.
Yeah, it wasn't easy when I saw him. I was a little bit uneasy. But he and CT, right whenever I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to get together and they're going to vote me out. It's like the paranoia of the game started right away.
Okay.
And so it was easier whenever Johnny Bananas got murdered because then I can isolate CT. And so I just kind of used that to my advantage a little bit because had Johnny stayed in the game, it would have been rough.
Okay. I don't want to put this, if this is going to cause issues, don't answer it. But I would think in challenge shows, you really want personalities that are going to add to the show and the drama and the total ratings.
Yeah.
It feels as though Johnny going out that early hurts the show.
Yeah.
So from your standpoint, it feels as though, I don't want to talk for you guys, but is like production involved at all with like who can stay and go?
Nothing.
No,
Nothing,
because
like
if they
absolutely
were,
nothing, eh?
Johnny would have stayed.
That's
Yeah, that's
what's so
my
good about the
point.
show.
That's what I was thinking about.
They were not involved.
Okay,
No.
not even because I feel like some of the other shows like Big Brother and stuff.
Yeah.
I do feel like that might be the case.
It was a
but-
very clean game.
You
Okay.
did whatever you wanted to do, any convo, however
Yeah.
long you wanted to. It was all you.
Okay,
That's why I highly suggest people go on the show if they're asked.
okay, I love it. Trader secrets on trading secrets. We obviously talk a lot of business and planning and strategy here, but I want to hear from you guys. Like when you went in, so imagine like you build a business plan, right? You have an idea. You guys come in with a clean slate. When you walk in there, what did you do before? What was the game plan, high level? Like, what was your thought process going into this? What were you going to do, and how were you going to do it differently? Let's start with you, Trishelle.
Okay. I sort of had a plan that I wanted to be a little bit more low-key than I was first banishment, but low-key.
You did not go low key at first.
I know. I didn't plan on it, but
Reverse.
there was actually a strategy to that too. But my strategy was to just like be low key until the middle and then dial up a little bit and then really like start to be more vocal. But also I learned that you could use being vocal at a round table to keep yourself safe from murder, which you picked up on very early as well. And so I kind of used that to my advantage. I literally thought that Peppermint was a traitor, so I thought that if I was more vocal, then I wouldn't get murdered.
Interesting. Okay, so that was part of your strategy.
Yes.
Peter, what was your strategy? You're coming in from The Bachelor, so I feel like you got a few options here. You could play it kind of dumb, you could play it kind of loosey-goosey, play into the brand, all the stuff,
Yeah.
but like, what was your thought?
I was just trying not to fall in love with any of the girls in the show.
That was part of your strategy.
I'm kidding.
I'm this good-looking guy here trying to find my wife. Don't mind me. That was part of it.
No, jokes. I came in and I'm just like, I wanted to do under the radar. I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of, again, I've never done a competition-based show like this, so I didn't know what I was walking into. I had confidence that I could pull something off, but I wanted to get my bearings straight, kind of get my feel. And then I feel like when the whole shield block, whole move happened to get, Parvati and Dan kind of, targets on them, I felt like I gained a lot of confidence in that moment. And I appreciated that. It kind of like, okay, now I can play with the big dogs. Like, I know these people are, I didn't really know how big all the cast was in their fields they came from. These were all stars, like the best of the best.
Yeah.
And so I kind of learned that in the first couple days. A little bit of intimidation set in, but once I kind of made a move, I'm like, all right, I got confidence, I can play with them.
You can play
I
with
got
those
vocal, and then I decided, okay, now I've made my move. I got to kind of stay this way. And then, like what Trishelle said, once you get loud, at that point, it almost becomes your protection, because if you put so much heat on traitors and you're so vocal, they almost can't murder you that next night because now it's too obvious.
It's too obvious, so that's part of the tactic. All right, let's go to this. A lot of people in their workplace look at it as like a game. They're trying to negotiate. They're trying to maneuver against peers to like get the leg up to get promoted. Let's go. We'll start with you, Trishelle. What is one tactic you used in Traitors that allowed you to get what you wanted out of a situation? It could be your tone, it could be body language, it could be triangulating. Like, what was one tactic you used that really allowed you to get your way? Because both you two were leaders in the pack this show.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have heard that actually, but I think that the ability to adapt and pivot in situations.
Okay.
So like whenever you had to change your game a bit, right? So after I was super vocal with the first banishment, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull back a lot and like kind of fall back into the bushes and like, and then whenever I had to pivot again and be a little bit more vocal, I did that. It's just you have to continuously change with the game.
So yours was like listen, resilience, adapt, angle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peter, you, one thing you did tactic-wise to get your way in situations when you needed to get your way.
I think my loyalty helped me progress in the game, with the Trishelle being one of them. You know, the group of faithfuls that we were really close with. Me kind of being able to demonstrate that loyalty through examples, I think maybe helped me gain confidence from the group even more too, to continue making plays and trying to, if I had an idea, to listen to me and get on board with it. I wish I would have been able to adapt a little bit more, like Trishelle was talking about. I struggled with, and maybe it was just because it was impossible to do, but the move where we kind of switched again from, you know, I'm all on Parvati and now I want to go to Phaedra. And
sure.
I understood the reason why we were doing that.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah, but that was so, I tried my best, but that was so hard to do a switch like that and adapt in that moment, last minute. Could have done a better job with that. But
It wasn't your
Trishelle,
fault.
what did you mean by that when you said it's a numbers game? Explain that.
Well, I play poker.
Yeah.
Pot odds, and it's sort of like odds. People are like chips in the game, and you got to figure out like who's going to be with you and who's going to be against you, and thinking a couple steps ahead.
Yeah.
Basically, I just knew that there were people that were so tight in the Bravo group that they weren't going to vote against Phaedra. Parvati was sort of by herself, so I look at that opportunity as bring the person who is by themselves in. She's not going to vote us out. Parvati's very aware. She thinks like a gamer. She knew that Phaedra had more people, so she's going to naturally come and side with us. So the only problem was that John and Kevin were really not privy to that and didn't understand where we were going. So you did the right thing. They screwed it up.
The hard part was, though, and I've heard a lot of feedback too, is you don't have that much time to conversate and come up with a game plan.
Yes.
Sure.
It's very limited time. The second producers say, okay, reality's done, you're done. And they'll tell you to stop talking.
We
So
tried,
So
but
you
they-
do have to. So you do have to like just trust your intuition at times, right? Obviously. Now, what's
do,
interesting,
yeah.
guys, back home, pot odds. So the idea behind pot odds, it's game theory. Essentially, the idea that based on the return of your investment, your move will make sense whether you're committed to what's in the overall total pot. So it's thinking through like, where am I at? What's the likelihood of my outcome? And based on what I do, I should put perspective to that. So that could be used and translated in poker, negotiating, and of course Traitors, which is
play
incredible.
poker.
Oh yeah, I know the game. I know the game really well.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into. We talked about things that you guys did really well. Learning from what you didn't do well on the show. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20. Peter, what's one thing, one move you would have done differently, seeing what you've seen now?
I wouldn't have ostracized a portion of the castle the way that I did. Again, I know that it was just a result of the way that the show went with the schedule and the amount of time we had to talk, but I think that hurt my game, having feelings kind of be hurt. I tried to make up for it later on and extend like an olive branch, but I think that was hard to recover from. Once people feel a certain way, they don't forget that.
Let me ask you this. Why not take the Traitors offer? Why'd you decline it? Do you regret doing that?
I don't. And it was for two different reasons. One, I legit didn't want to turn on my team. Like, we had a lot of momentum going.
Okay.
We were having so much fun. And I thought, listen, I wouldn't have rejected it. No matter what, I wouldn't have rejected it if I didn't think there was still a path to victory by rejecting it. So I ultimately thought there was still a chance that I could win.
That's good.
But also I didn't think it made sense just because at that point I'd been so vocal, so loud, putting so much heat, and it was accurate heat on the Traitors. I thought, okay, the next morning it's going to be revealed someone got recruited. Who's the obvious choice for the recruit?
Yeah.
I would say it was me. So I'm like, there's really no point. There's pros and cons, but there's no point to accept this. They can throw me under the bus the very next day, get all this credibility. Parvati and Phaedra could go sort of the end, and I'd be banished as a traitor. I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
That's
They
fair.
would've done that.
So you still saw a path to victory,
I
and
did.
then we'll talk a little bit here soon about you and Phaedra and maybe what she did to get the last laugh, what you could have done differently. But before we do that, Trishelle, what's one thing you would have done differently watching the show back?
I didn't like the first banishment. I
Okay.
felt like it got a little nasty, and
Yeah.
I felt like I was behind, like kind of like a herd mentality, and so I didn't.
We all were though at that point.
Yeah, I didn't realize it though at the time because nobody was listening to me, and if you saw the show, nobody listened to me pretty much the entire time. So, in everyday life, thinking back on it, had I had a longer conversation with Peppermint, we would have been amazing allies on the show too.
Yeah.
You know, so I wish that I would have just like had more conversations, worked with her in the beginning.
Yeah. So of all the moves, even when we saw, you know, your last move in the finale, that's the one you would have changed.
That was the one that I regret more on a personal level. I
Okay.
think game-wise, I would have trusted CT a little bit more, and actually it worked out in the end. No, I don't regret it. It's
Okay.
fine.
Fair enough.
You won.
You
Yeah,
won.
you
You
played it
won.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Phaedra, why is it? What about Phaedra? What do you think she did? How did she just scoot by and beat you, Pete?
Trishelle was right. Phaedra had so much influence, so much power in that castle. And listen,
What do you think it is about her though? Like, because I want to translate like even power in the castle to like people at home that are powerless. Like, what is it about her that gave her so much power?
I think she just she carries herself in such a way, literally, where you look at her and like the first word that comes to my mind is power. She just is so confident. She's so smart, so educated. You know, such an incredible businesswoman. I kept learning about a new business that she had pretty much every single day.
Yeah.
Is very savvy in the reality TV world. Is really good in the social game. Is so quick-witted. You know, you guys all
Yeah.
heard like the one-liners.
Yeah, she's quick.
They just come out over and over, and just is a really good social player. I definitely think she made some mistakes strategically. I would have done different if I was her, but her social game was so good. That's what carried her for so far.
I want to bring this back to The Bachelor. So you were among studs on your season with Hannah Brown, right?
Yeah.
You got Tyler Cameron, yourself, a bunch of others. Obviously, you ended up being the one they chose, and
Yeah.
then you're leading as the lead, as the Bachelor. We saw you as a leader on this show so much that you got called. Someone said, I think it was Phaedra that said, this guy could be a cult leader. Okay, now let's go back to
was
The
so
Bachelor.
funny.
Do you think there is something instinctively that like maybe back home we didn't know about you, that you are a leader? Like when you're on The Bachelorette, you're a leader amongst your peers. That's why you were the lead. That's why you had one of the top rated seasons of all time. Like, is there something about your leadership ability maybe we didn't see in The Bachelor that does hold true that we're seeing now?
I mean, yeah, I take that as a compliment, not the cult leader part, but
Not the cult part. Leader's good. Drop
for
the
sure.
cult.
No, yeah, I'll take the leader. I've kind of always carried myself in that way. I don't know if it goes back to, I was really interested in going the Air Force route and ROTC in college to be a fighter pilot, and they instill a lot of great lessons at an early age there. Just in my career, being a captain, that's the greatest honor I've had so far in my career. My first airline I ever flew for. It was the most fun I had, and as a captain, you're responsible for every single person on that flight. Like, it all comes down to you and your decision making. You use everyone, and a great leader, in my opinion, is someone that can make the entire group feel like their opinion is just as valuable as everyone else's, and everyone comes together for the success at the end. But I think it just comes from my career and that being ingrained, from an early age, and that just carried over to the show.
Okay.
Can I piggyback
Of
on that?
course, yeah.
So people were like, especially my friends were like, how did you and Peter become so tight? And I was like, well, obviously, my husband is a pilot. They had the exact same experience job. My husband was Air Force. So whenever I met Peter, I was so relieved because I got to feel like I was a little bit
Home.
We vibed right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That was the first thing you said to me.
Yeah.
Was
I
that
know,
your husband
and we were talking, we were laughing about the pilot lingo that nobody else kind of understood, and we got to talk about that, and his whole family is like, that life, I already knew what his life was like because that's the life I'm living, right?
Yeah.
And I also know that my husband is a super honest, trustworthy person who takes care of things, who is so smart. So I just knew, I was like, God, Peter is going to be brilliant in this game. People are going to probably underestimate him. He's going to be shocking. But so I trusted him immediately. And my husband, the first conversation I had with him, because we got 10 minutes a week to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
He was like, well, they leaked the cast. He's like, I just hope that you're working with Pilot P.
Wow.
And I didn't even,
Interesting.
hadn't even talked to him. He knew that I'd be working
That
with
you knew,
Peter.
and just there are some leadership qualities in certain careers like that
He
that
actually
translate.
said Peter and John. Those are the two people that he picked.
God, well, your husband
That's-
knows you,
yeah,
then,
there
eh?
you go. Of course
I'll
he
tell
does,
you
yeah.
what. Okay, I got
Two
some more
faithfuls.
strategy questions for you, but Pete, I want to end with this one on your end. So, and this one's a little tougher, okay? But you think about on the show, you're a leader, and you could tell that you have a ton of loyalty to the people you're leading. Okay, we've seen that in almost to a fault, actually. And then on the Bachelor side, we also saw like you've had 3 relationships from the Bachelor franchise, been very loyal in each of those, and have kind of, now you're single, searching again for love.
Yeah.
Do you find, talk to me, and I want this to hit with people back home, people that are loyal, but might be overly loyal, maybe loyal to a fault. Do you at any times in this game or in life feel like you are loyal to a fault? And is there anything you are learning about yourself to do differently because of that, personally, professionally, or in this game?
Oh, that's a good question. First part of that, no. I would never say you could be loyal to a fault.
Okay.
And I mean that because if it's the right person, it's never going to be to a fault. You're never going to feel like you're in that position. I truly feel that. And, obviously in my romantic life, and I'm still looking and trying to, fill that gap, and I'm never going to rush it. But I truly feel like the right person will come along, and that won't ever be part of the discussion, being too loyal to a fault. I think for the biggest thing that I kind of learned from the show and my experience on The Bachelor, and I guess a little bit of it kind of crossed over to the Traitors, was, and I don't know if this is necessarily all loyalty, but on The Bachelor, I remember just being such a people pleaser. And I wanted to give everything to as many people as possible. I looked at it like, okay, I have all these women that are putting their life on hold to come meet me, and that's like a huge honor there. And so I owe it to them to like give them my all.
Yeah.
And like, there's only so much of that though you can do.
Yeah,
because if you
drain yourself.
You drain yourself.
Yeah.
And by the end of The Bachelor, it was just emotionally, physically so draining. And I feel going into the Traitors, I definitely remember saying all the time, I'm like, listen, I'm playing this game so different than The Bachelor. Like, nothing actually is crossing over, because I'm trying to completely remove myself from emotion, right?
Yeah.
This is all strategic. And
just game.
Granted, a little bit of emotion came through, I guess, with the loyalty aspect. But I remember, and it kind of came, it almost bit me in the ass a little bit, but like, I wasn't that people pleaser. Like, I was, closing doors on people, and like I was doing what needed to be done for like the best interest of my group, myself, like our chance of winning. And that wasn't something I did on The Bachelor that I wish I would have done. And so I saw some growth in that aspect, and I was happy with that.
That's pretty cool. I mean, people pleasers are typically self-sacrificers, right? Self-sacrificers usually can have a lot of issues with getting things done they need to get done because they're so worried about everyone else. So it's fascinating to see what Bachelor taught you that actually translated into this game.
Yeah.
I asked it in this order because, Trishelle, I would say that your style is much different than that, right? I think there are a lot of people at home that are people pleasers that struggle. They're so worried about what everybody thinks, especially with social media these days. And I don't want to post. I don't want to do this. I'm so worried. I take you for someone that doesn't give a shit what people think. I could be wrong. Maybe you just do it well, but talk to me about your idea of like how you know when to be like, you're an enemy, you're on my team, and just like you're good at boundaries. That's what I feel like you're good at. Tell us about that.
I have always been a very competitive person. I've played competitive sports my entire life. When I play games, I get super competitive. I can literally fight with friends over taboo. So for me, whenever I'm in game mode, that's what CT calls it, game mode, I'm just there. Do I care? In my everyday life, I kind of am a people pleaser because I want people to like me. But at one point when I feel like I'm being pushed, then I'm just like, screw it, I don't care. But in this game in particular, I went in there knowing that there were going to be way famous people, like the housewives and everything, way more famous than I was. And I was just like, I'm not going to let anyone intimidate me.
Love it.
And people are sometimes uncomfortable with a woman who's super confident, and that's not my problem.
So you in no capacity do you face imposter syndrome whatsoever?
No.
How do you not get fazed by other people like that? What do you do to
like
not?
In a game situation, I don't. But you know what's weird is that I'll feel like bad about like social media trolls. Strangers. It's so weird.
So poker, face to face, you're with these big people, you're not at all intimidated, but then the trolls can get to you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's also like I kind of the person that when you put me on the spot, I don't get nervous.
Yeah. Interesting.
You have to throw me in the water.
Do you have any
and,
tips for that, or do you think you're just born with that?
I think I've always been that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, for
Sink or swim.
some people that aren't, take some notes out of Trishelle's out of her playbook, because that's a great quality. Now let's talk about this. I love the fact that you guys split the prize pool 2 ways. I think it's awesome. I think you should take that bag, do it. Was that part of the strategy when you guys were down to picking who you wanted to win? Did you think, let's get someone out so we could split this 2 ways, or did you really think MJ might have been a traitor?
No, I didn't think that MJ was a traitor. I knew she
Okay.
wasn't. We weren't sure how it was going to go. Like, CT switched the vote on me like really last minute.
Yep.
I wanted Sandra to stay, and he wanted Sandra to be voted out. So I had to be, whenever you're that little of people,
Yeah.
you don't want to be the standout vote. So I had to kind of vote with them and switch my game. Like I said earlier, you have to switch a little bit.
Yep.
So I adapted in that sense. CT and I mentioned it with Johnny Bananas that we kind of wanted us three to maybe wouldn't it be cool if we all did it for
Sure.
the challenge, good old days.
Yeah.
It would make the fandom happy, whatever. And we mentioned it, but it wasn't like clear that we were going to do that. It wasn't like a plan. I mean, did you see that I voted for him?
Of course.
So I really thought that he was a traitor
First time you
for a
did.
minute.
I didn't know if that was planned when you voted for him. Like that was part of. Like,
That would be
was,
the worst plan ever.
Yeah.
Why would I be so strategic this entire time and play notes? And
Did you really think MJ was going to vote for him?
Yeah. Because
did?
I had a conversation with her right before, and I said, MJ, I trust you 100%, and I don't trust anybody else here 100%.
So then why was she so bitter then?
I
don't
am
get this, 'cause
wondering
they
that.
Do you think it was an act?
Been in cahoots.
If you and MJ were on the same page and you followed through and she didn't follow through, and if she followed through, you two would have won and split the bag.
I know.
Why is she so upset?
I tried to explain it to her, too.
This seems like one-on-one, though. It seems
for,
like
one-on-one off camera. I tried to explain it to her. She just is very upset. I think that her whole thing, she's hung up on the fact that we could have split it 3 ways. But that's literally not how the game, where it was going. We were presented with what we had, right? And so I thought CT was a traitor. We had already thrown the red pouches. We couldn't redo it.
Yeah.
So, like, we couldn't be like, just kidding, Alan, like, we want to split it 3 ways. And that's how the game is designed. And the game is called Traitors. And deceit and betrayal is in the tagline. And I'm sorry if you guys are hurt about it, but that's what it is. You know, you're welcome for, giving you good television.
putting on that show.
Like,
now, was CT at all irritated with you off camera, behind the scenes, that you voted for him originally?
No, we don't get really that butthurt, actually.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I was upset with him in the fire
Pros.
I
ceremony.
feel like gamers don't.
I was
They
gonna
don't
say
take
just a
things
pro,
personally.
right?
Yeah.
Like you guys get it.
He laughed. He was like,
Yeah.
You are just something. And I was like, I am.
So you online though have been getting a little pushback.
A
What do you
little,
think? Tell
yeah,
me about the
a little bit.
pushback and why.
People are just so upset about MJ. They're just like, you guys are greedy. But like the difference whenever you split it 3 ways was like what, $70K? That's not gonna like make or break anybody's life. And
No.
so for me, it wasn't about that. I threw her a bone. She didn't accept it. And why would I again vote against CT if she already wrote my name down?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, you did it to yourself. Like, that's
I
kind
didn't
of.
think about that. That's true, yeah.
Why would I? I mean, she wrote my name down twice.
There was shit. I can't. I'm giving you guys a little behind the scenes. I had it in my notes and I can't find it. But okay, no, I can't find it. There was something that happened in the finale where you had heard why one of the people wanted the money they wanted or something that they were going to do for it. Do you recall this at all?
What?
Okay, I got
What they were going to do with the money?
There was something said about, hang on. Okay, here's the question. Ready? Phaedra said in the reunion that Trishelle had an interesting combo about why she wanted to win the money, and that's
Yeah.
why she didn't murder her. What was that reason that you wanted to win the money?
Well, okay. So my husband and I had done fertility stuff, and we went through that whole journey, and that's like super expensive, which we had already paid off, obviously. But then surrogacy is like super expensive.
Yeah.
So I was just like, we were looking at surrogates during the pandemic, and then that kind of went through. So I just mentioned that.
Oh,
But
that's,
like it wasn't a set thing.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I don't want anybody asking me when I'm having a baby.
Okay, gotcha.
Like,
You
just
guys, she
stop.
shared, that's enough traitor secrets that she's going to give, so we'll actually take
Not
that.
one DM about the baby.
I am mad. I am glad though we got to ask about that. I want to ask you though. Suppose MJ's is substituted there, okay, and say Peter makes it. So it's Peter,
Oh.
No.
you,
Okay.
and
Remember what you said at the
CT.
reunion?
Oh
Right?
my God.
You-
Peter, are we doing this again?
Yeah, we're doing
Do
this
it
again
again.
because that hurt.
I don't even have to answer
hurt.
the question, and I want to know. Finish the question. He's there. What are you doing, and why? And what did she say to you that hurt?
Well, I
Come on, we want the off-camera traitor secrets.
don't want to
here.
throw you. I mean, it's not that
Say
I'm throwing you
it.
under. No, it
Say
wasn't
it.
that bad. I was just like, I remember I heard this. I get it. She was her. So CT, Trishelle, MJ were kind of going at it, and then What did MJ say? MJ said something, or Andy then said, "Well, Trishelle, yeah, would you have turned on Peter last minute?"
No, he did not say it just directed toward me. He said, Peter pals, all of us. He
Okay.
said, at some point, like, you guys were gonna have to, vote each other out because you can't take like 5 people to the end. And would you guys have done it?
No,
and
but specifically said, "Would you have turned on Peter?"
would you have turned on Peter?
And then Trishelle goes, "Yeah, of course."
I said, it's a game.
a
And
game.
Peter was like,
I remember like hearing it, and I processed it a little too late
Oh,
after Andy
he was
like
mad about
went to
it.
something else, and I'm like, during a break, I'm like, "Wait, Trishelle, what?
What?
What?"
So did you
I
think
would
he was
not
a,
have turned
did you
on
think he
Peter.
was a traitor or no?
never.
Okay.
I
You never thought he
that
was.
Peter
Okay,
was a
so he's
traitor.
in the final 3. What are you doing for your vote?
I would have probably voted CT out because I
Wow.
I thought that he
You
was a
did that
traitor,
anyway.
and I 100%
What
knew
would
that
you have
Peter
done?
wasn't.
If it was the 3 of us, obviously I was gonna go with Trishelle. CT was just someone. I say like he was like what you asked the questions early in the game, like the most powerful or like strategic. He was
He
just
did some weird
someone.
moves, though,
He
even
did
for
weird
me.
moves that he just always threw me off, and I went back and forth with him so many times that I wouldn't have been comfortable ending the game with him. Trishelle, I would have gone to the very end. Anyone in the Peter Palace, I would have
Yeah.
gone to the M4. But
Okay,
I
last
was
question.
not going to vote Peter out.
You were not going to vote
Sorry.
Peter
You
out.
sure?
All
You sure
right.
about that now?
I don't know. A lot of back
you're
and forth
changing your
here.
answer
You
now?
know, we're not
Yeah.
playing
Okay.
the game here,
Swear
Trishelle.
to
This is
God.
real life here. All right, Peter, let me ask you this last question about game theory.
Yeah.
Is there anything you think you could have done now, seeing it all back, to get MJ and Sandra to believe you?
No, I mean, we had a lot of these conversations at the reunion, and Sandra was very, very honest. Sandra and I, we talked a lot. Sandra knew that I was a faithful
Yeah.
and still voted me out, and she was doing that. I can't blame her because she's trying to win. Everyone's trying to win the game. She was going under the strategy of playing, she called it her traitor angel, and so
Okay.
she wanted Phaedra to truly think that, which is what I was doing with Parvy. I guess a lot of us were doing the same strategy. Maybe
Sure.
I was just the most vocal.
Right.
But Sandra was trying to convince Phaedra that she really thought she was a faithful and just using that protection to make it to the end. So she told me she knew that I was a faithful, and obviously that hurts. It stings to know, but
Yeah.
so there's nothing I could
Interesting.
have done.
There's
at
nothing
that
you
point.
could have done.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to say that
Yeah,
I do
say.
feel a little bit like the other side of the house were gaslighting us a little bit. Number 1, they called themselves the leftovers. We were the leftovers. No one in our group was from the same show.
That's
They had
true.
a solid group. They were the Bravo people. We were the leftovers. So that's number 1.
That's true.
Number 2, sorry, I'm going off. I had a
Go
couple
off.
sips of
Pop
Hey,
off.
surge.
let's hear it,
Pop off, Trishelle.
Number 2, they basically had the same strategy, or Sandra did, that Peter did, as far as the traitor angel thing and the numbers game, but they were blaming us for it. I'm like, no, you guys had the same strategy. She showed it with the pool balls.
Yeah. Well,
Everyone was doing really the same thing.
Well, I was gonna say, the devil's advocate, right? In the life of real world, gaslighting is like a terrible form of manipulation. In game world, it's fucking brilliant, right? Like, for them to
That's true.
gaslight you was part of their game. Like,
That's true.
if they actually were using their name Leftovers as a means to like gaslight you, like,
Hey,
they crushed it.
Yeah.
Props
Right?
to them. What I think though would help with that, just my 2 cents for the game, because I think the show is going to be uber successful for many years to come.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just they hit gold with this. Only suggestions I would have is randomize the picks for traders in the beginning. Have so there's no
that's a
one
good
can have
idea.
a target on their
That's a
back.
good idea.
It's a computer algorithm that picks however many, and not allow so many recruitments. Just to then, now that takes rid of the problem of people playing with these traitor angels and
Yeah.
playing the game that way. No, have maybe 5 traders at the beginning and just go as long as the game takes to get rid of them. But if you know that someone's always going to get recruited, when you get down to a certain amount of traders, people are going to play this traitor angel game.
Of course.
And that could possibly hurt the competition of it.
Yeah.
So
I was
that's
gonna
my
ask you
suggestion.
if you thought there was any inefficiencies or flaws within the actual game. I think that's your answer. How
Yeah.
about for you?
Also, and I think because you're I think a similar thinker as I am, and I was thinking in the mind of a producer
Yeah.
from the beginning. So I was like, if I were a producer, who would I choose to be a traitor?
Of course.
Dan,
Yeah.
Phaedra. Like, I mean, these are
You
like,
could just-
it was
yeah.
kind of
You gotta
obvious.
randomize it.
Yeah,
it was
you have to-
too
you're
obvious.
right.
Like,
That's a
I wanna
really
see
good- that's an inefficiency.
Fergie,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like someone young. Because I'm watching the UK season too, and they have like a 22-year-old guy there, and I'm in the beginning of it, but he's killing it. Fergie, nobody would ever have suspected him.
Yeah. So it
If
plays into both ways. Like the people you suspect,
Right.
it's like obvious. And
It
the people
helps
you
them.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
it's an
Bananas goes
advantage.
back and they don't do that, I
Yeah.
honestly could see Bananas getting murdered every single first
I
night.
know.
I see that
If
too.
he's not a
I see
traitor.
that too.
Yep.
Yep, you're right. All right, let me ask you about this. This is just some misconceptions people want to know. Do traders actually meet in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys actually sleep in the mansion?
We slept great in Scotland. I'll say that.
We can't say.
Oh, you're not allowed to say that?
No.
Okay,
yeah.
so you didn't. Okay, one thing then.
Don't say that.
Alan Cummings in real life, legend. What's he
Yeah.
like?
Can I just say this real quick?
Yeah.
Alan, I had so much respect for him because the entire experience of filming it, he never broke character once.
Okay.
He was what you see on screen the entire time, and like method acting brought you into that environment. We got to hang out with him once with press in New York at his Club Coming, and it was the first time I got to actually talk to him, and he was not in
pretty
character.
impressive.
And I'm like, dude, that's so cool. You just didn't break character at all, and it really made us feel like,
Yeah.
we're really in this game and playing with this,
That's
with this
pretty
guy.
cool. Okay, I like that. What is one thing that you wish aired that didn't? Let's go with you first, Peter.
I thought it would have. I tried to extend the olive branch a lot, so everyone except Phaedra at the end there, I told that I had received the recruitment letter for to try to like gain some trust with them. They never aired that. People were like, "Why didn't you tell people that you got recruited?" I did, but I guess just with editing, it didn't make it in.
Okay, Trishelle.
I wish that they showed more of like why I voted for CT and everything, because people were very confused, I think, by the last episode. And I did an entire interview after that. I don't know if like the camera was turned off accidentally and why they didn't show it, but people were like, what happened? So I wish that they showed that. Also, I had like a couple great moments with Deontay that were in the car where we were both like crying, and he's such a great guy. And
Yeah.
like,
He's a good dude.
yeah,
I
he's
wanted
such
more
a
of him
good
in the
guy.
reunion.
I know.
I wish they would have made him speak more because I like hearing from
he's
him.
so smart. He's so
Yeah.
awesome. So I wish they
Yeah.
showed that too.
Okay, that's good. Peter, my book, Talk Money to Me. It's about love and money. Have to ask. We saw Ekin Sue with your mom, Barb. Love Barb. Shout out, Barb. You're a freaking beauty. Actually, you are like now a legend in reality
She
TV.
is a legend. Love
you
you,
are
Barb.
a reality TV legend, Barb.
We're gonna have her on here.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yes.
Peter,
Next
you have
guest.
been on of anybody that's been on the show. You've been on the most. Next time, it's gonna be
I'm coming with my mom.
Peter and Barb, and that is gonna be absolutely electric.
Let's do it.
But Ekin Sue, we see that you're friends. You said you're
Yeah.
just friends, but there's also these rumors like maybe you and Barb had a little thing going on. Like, is there any type of love going on in any capacity? Any dates going on?
No,
None
no.
at all?
I'll be honest. Yeah. Again, beautiful friendships that came from the show. Ekin Sue and I, we really are very, very similar. We got along super
Yeah.
well. It was like one of the friendships that I have with Trishelle. I know a lot of people like to talk and everything, but she's doing Big Brother now in London,
Okay,
rooting her
okay.
on, and yeah.
If Ekin Sue or Barb asked you on a date, would you go?
Okay, first off,
Are
Parvati's
these
in a
like
very
written in questions? Are these your questions?
No, these are my questions.
Parvati's in a very like
Sick,
great
twisted
relationship and all
brain, I'm
that.
telling you. Oh, Barb's in a relationship?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, did
Yeah.
not know that. Whoops.
She's with someone.
Yeah.
See, that's
But-
how you know I asked.
But wait, I will say that while my friends and I were watching that episode that you're talking to Parvati, my girlfriends are like, pause it. They're like, I feel a certain way right now. Are they about to make out? I was like, no, he's just putting on the charm
That's
because he
what
knows
I
he
s-
needs her in her car now.
Yes,
All
we
part
both.
of the show.
She was just as manipulative though. In that, like, that's why she
She
was my
was.
answer. She was, and they didn't show. She like full on did this thing where she put her hands up to the camera, all the tears, and it literally, guys, it brought me right back to the Bachelor. I'm like,
Oh
am
my
I?
God.
She got me this close to believing her.
Wow.
And then I was like, no, I can't. I've learned my lesson. I
Wow,
can't do this.
you
Yeah.
almost got a full like a full reversal there, back to that
Part for
world.
Bachelorette, but she's
Yeah.
in a relationship.
Okay, she's yeah. All right, sorry for disrupting that part. I hope you're happy. Okay, what future shows do we think we'll see both you two on? 2021 was the last time you were on. 2019, you now both have some crazy momentum. What future shows do you think we'll see you on, or do you want to be on? Start with you, Trishelle.
Oh, me. I was going to say Peter go first. I am a huge Big Brother fan. I
Okay.
would love to do Big Brother. Anything that I can do that's like strategic. I wouldn't like love to be like on an island somewhere or anything like Survivor. Like I don't think I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Pete?
I think top 3 that come to mind. I think Special Forces would be awesome. Just to push
you
myself.
want to do that?
Oh,
Oof.
absolutely. I would love that. Like, just, I think pushing yourself to be like uncomfortable is such a great opportunity just for growth and just fun as hell. Dancing with the Stars, I've wanted to do that for years, but we'll see. And then Survivor, I think would
Hey.
be really cool.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
All right, Pete. I'm lobbing you with a softball here. Me included. You could say my name.
Okay.
3 people from the Bachelor franchise that would be good on Traitors.
Oh.
And you could say my name.
Jason Tartick is my number one
so
pick.
thirsty
Jason
for this
Tartick,
show.
if I
I'm
said
not
that.
thirsty for shit, but I'm thirsty for this show.
You would be
Okay,
good.
keep going.
I think, and you would kill it either as a faithful or a traitor. I
Okay.
truly think you could play
I would
either
honestly
role.
love to be a traitor.
And the fact that you're cool with it, I'm going to say Caitlyn too, just because the dynamic of bringing 2 exes on, there's just so much potential for that.
Something else.
And then Chris Harrison. I think it'd be cool to see him in that light as a contestant.
You think he'd do it?
Oh.
I mean, never say never, but
that would be fun
it'd be
to
super
watch,
interesting
yeah.
to see a host go and play as a contestant.
I'm on board with that. Okay, that's
I think Hannah Brown would be good.
She'd be
Hannah,
good as well.
I think Hannah Brown's good at anything she does.
Yeah.
I'm like fully convinced.
She's a baddie.
She's just she's a baddie.
Yeah.
Whatever. She writes books, they're New York Times bestseller. She goes to Special Forces, she wins. Dancing with the Stars, she wins. Bachelorette, she wins.
She wins
She's
it
just a
all.
winner.
Also,
She's
I
a
think
winner.
just an actual couple that is together, Justin and Susie. That'd be cool too.
Oh, that'd be cool,
Kind
too.
of like the Larsa Marcus thing.
I like that.
Because
I like
there's
that.
so much potential with
Yeah,
that too.
there's something there. From all the reality shows you've come across, all the big dogs, who do you think should be on the show that hasn't been on the show yet?
I think that Omarosa would do really well on the show. I just like to see her on television. She's very intimidating. I think from the challenge, Anissa would be awesome. Best Delarchick, she's like from way back in the day, but she has a very villainous personality that I love to see on television. Yeah, Housewives. Johnny Fairplay would be good too. He did Survivor, lied about his grandmother dying. Love that. I just like a villain character.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, Money Mafia, we stayed a lot in the strategy branding realm today. Not too much into the dollars and cents, but we'll let you guys get away with this one. I won't make you sweat on the dollars and cents. It was a great episode filled with so much, but we got to end with a trading secret. Peter, you've done it before. You're here again. A trading secret. Something you can't find in a textbook. You can't learn on a YouTube tutorial or TikTok. Only from you and your experience flying planes, going on dates, being the Bachelor, and now a Traitors superstar. What can you leave us with, Pilot Pete?
I guess I'll say, and it's kind of been a theme, of just today in the podcast, is be a yes man and a yes woman. That's what I've done for the last, I guess I've done that my entire life, but the last couple of years, it's opened up so many doors and insane opportunities that I never in a million years would have thought I would have had. Everything from the Bachelor to Traitors and everything in between. So say yes to being uncomfortable. Say yes to pushing yourself. Like, don't always take the easy way. Do something that's totally out of your comfort zone. And I think there's so much opportunity for growth and for love and just creating insane memories and relationships to be made. Just say yes a hell of a lot more than you think you might have to.
Yeah, and I could say just as a good friend of yours, like, I think you are the definition of, like, always just like, all right, you're not going to ask questions. You're not going to put up guards. If I'm like, hey, let's go do this, you're like, all right, let's go. Like, hey, let's do this. Hey, let's go. And I could also speak for the agency that we own and Evan working with you all the time. He gets so many calls just saying, like, we want Peter because he's so easy to work with. Like, he's down, he's easy, he wants to do it, let's go. And that's a huge testament to what you're doing, how you're doing it. And I think this is a huge jumping point for you. I am a predictor that you are going to be on a minimum of 5 more shows in the next 5 years without a doubt. That's my guess. 5 shows, 5 years. We'll come back. You and Barb will talk all about it.
There we go.
Trishelle, trading secret. What can you leave us with?
Okay. I say if you find yourself in the position where you were underestimated, use it to your advantage. I have used that in this game. I use it in poker, and I feel like it's a bigger strength than people realize. And so I will continue to use that. Please underestimate me. Don't listen to me. I'll use it to fuel my fire.
You know who else had a trading secret like that?
Who?
You would least expect it. Rob Gronkowski.
No.
Really?
He got underestimated?
Yeah, well, here's what he said. He goes, everyone thinks I'm this, like, big dummy. I'm always partying. He's like, most of the time, anytime you see me and I look drunk, I'm 100% sober. And he goes, a lot of the time that my coaches would think this and that, I'd be 8 steps ahead. So part of my plan was act dumb. They expect little. And I'm 10 steps ahead of all of them. And the one thing I could tell you about him that actually speaks to that, and I said it in the podcast, was in high school, he was in AP in every single class.
Me too.
He was right? So there you go.
Me
extremely
too.
smart. So maybe the cover you wouldn't expect, high achieving 4.0 AP student, maybe the same, but the people that didn't expect it, it was a way for you to supersede their expectations.
It almost takes the pressure off too.
100%.
I don't need to talk about what grades I got. A in organic chemistry.
Orgo puts people literally on death watch, and there you are. All right, guys, this was an unbelievable episode of Trading Secrets. Peter, if people are listening, they want to see more of you, where can they find you?
I am Pilot Pete on Instagram. That's my go-to.
Do you use any other social media platforms?
I guess I do TikTok too.
Okay.
Not as active, but mainly Instagram.
There you go. Love it. We'll get that TikTok game going.
Yeah.
Trishelle, where can people find you?
At Trishelle C on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, but I'm literally about to get off because people are terrible. So don't tweet me.
Okay.
Unless you have something very kind to say.
Don't tweet. Go follow on Instagram for all the stuff. We have 2 Traitors superstars. This was an episode you can't afford to miss. Thank you guys for being with me.
All right, my man.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
us.
This was
Good
so
stuff.
fun.
Sunglass crew.
To season 3 right here.
To season 3. Get me on that show.
Let's do it.
You need me on that show.